rise and the questions start to flow. Breaking down the issue. Truth talking life matters big and small. Tell me, is the program common reason one and all? Tell me, calling with your views, your voice matters most of all. Real talk, real facts, building a better life for all. Tell me. Tune into 2020 Vision Radio this Thursday at 8 p.m. with host Carlisle Powell alongside Kelvin Daly and Tulu Weeks. Tell me, your number one political talk show. Tell me.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Pinney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Yeah. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. But girl, tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Yeah. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Tell me what you want. Tell me what you need. Tell me if I'm good enough for you, babe. Good enough for you, babe. Tell me.
Thank you very much, Beanie Man. Good night, everybody. It's Culturama time in Nevis. Tonight is the start of Culturama, and as a result of that, my report when I was coming down, I was tempted to pass by. Somebody told me that they had 51 persons. I should come to make 52 because this is the 52nd anniversary of Culturama. And so I am probably going to take a little swing by there a little bit later. Tulu, how you do?
Indeed, that's so abrupt. I am doing good. It's good to be back again. I will not be promoting Culturama. And it's good to be here again with you two esteemed gentlemen. It's always an honor to be in your presence.
Okay.
It's always an honor to be in your presence, and so it's good to be here again. Good evening to all those who listen to us on a regular basis. You know who you are. Welcome.
You're not promoting Culturama. Does that mean that because you won't promote it, you won't go?
No, I'm not going. Culturama do nothing with us as an entity. I'm not promoting them, they're not promoting me. I
A
have
lot of
nothing to
people,
say
a
about
lot of
it.
people still coming home. Some people still coming home for Culturama.
If they want to come, they come. I'm not telling them not to come.
I have some family members who came in today,
When they come in.
so I gotta go look for them tomorrow.
Okay.
Dr. Daly, how you do?
I am like fine wine.
Your family still here to help you drink the fine wine?
Most of them, half have gone.
Okay.
The other half are here. And it's been a whirlwind of a visit. I would have had all of my siblings here with me for better part of a week. And of course, the occasion was to celebrate the passing of my brother Steve in California last year, May. And so we have had 3 services for him, one in California, one in New York, where he grew up, and of course, one here. The final resting place is here on Nevis. I must first thank all those who came out and showed support on the day of the service, which was last week Sunday, and who took part in, of course, the celebration of our brother. I just rushed here from home because my brother Hugh is staying with me, and just want to wish him good night. I don't have to say my brother Hugh in St. Croix because he's right here. My brother Carl is still here. My brother Denny is here. My sister Judith is here. My sister even left. And so we're winding down this magnificent celebration. And it is a pleasure to have yourself surrounded by so many family members all at once. My good friend Greg Hartman remarked to me that, you know, you can sense the love in our family, because he, of course, would have graced us with his presence at the ceremony on Sunday, and of course we would have, you know, been sharing conversations back and forth all the time with him. And so I'm grateful for the kind of friendship we have. But let me say good evening to all those who have joined the conversation here again on 2020 Vision Radio. And if you're on FM Dial, YouTube, Twitch, and of course on the Facebook feed, we invite your comments, your calls, your suggestions. Whatever you have to say, you can do that freely. Let me say good evening to my good brothers over there in St. James, Bose and Turkey and Gary. And up in Westbury, my good buddy Max, who I saw for a long time, haven't seen for a long time, but I saw him at the launch for MP11. And he told me, I can't miss this. Matter of fact, when we were coming down on the motorcade through Westbury, he was already dressed, waiting for his ride to come to Jessup's. You know, so he's a trooper. I appreciate him. And of course, all of you listeners, we do appreciate you. We do not take your listenership for granted. And so thank you all.
Good. And I'm saying good night to my sister Mary. She's someplace in Africa. She and her husband, you can't, Mary don't stay one place too long. She's retired. She loves to travel. And so I'm saying good night to my sister Mary. If she's up and listening, good night to you, and I hope that you're having fun. Good night to my big sister, the tallest of the lot. That's Irma Glenda Skelton, and she's on the road as well. She's in the U.S. She's normally down in St. Thomas. She's up on the mainland. So I'm saying good night to you, Glenda, and your daughters, Sharifa and Shireen, and your favorite grandson, Caden, and your favorite granddaughter as well. So you have all your favorites with you, and I hope that you're doing very well. Soraya is there with you as well. Let me say good night to Morvet, and while I'm up that way, let me go across and say good night to the entire Francis family. Tanika, I have to call you, because I have to get an update on the camp, how that is going. So I hope you're doing good. And then I'm heading down to say good night to Everett and his wife across the Tartola, and hope that you're doing good as well. And then coming home to my brother Trevor. I saw Trevor this afternoon. He's doing good. So, and then everybody else. Mrs. Jeffers, I promise that I'm going to come to look for you, and I seriously got to come to look for you. When people jamming in town, I going to hit the long road and come over and spend some time with you. Hope that you're doing good. In terms of the Mr. Farrell, Elmo Farrell and your wife, hope that you're doing well as well. Let's go back a little bit. Because we were not here last week, we missed the birthday of Mr. Ivor Henry. But Ivor says that's not a problem because he's celebrating for the entire month. You know, so whichever day we catch him, he's good. He had a birthday on Tuesday. James David was Wednesday. And a good cousin of mine, Hendrix, celebrated yesterday, Wednesday as well. His mom and all of her children and her partner spent some time with me, and it was so good to have them. Today, Thursday, Mr. Earl Nias, you know the name? That's Mr. 2020 himself. He's celebrating today. My classmate Everett Martin is celebrating today as well. And Joya, you forgot to tell me, Susie forgot to tell me, Tanika forgot to tell me, Annette forgot to tell me, but I found out that today is Zizi's birthday. So I'm sending best wishes to Zizi. Rudy Brown is celebrating a birthday today. Rudy, I don't think is the best birthday because he's away with his son who got in a bad accident. But Rudy, happy birthday to you. Today is also the birthday of Joya Parry Lake, originally from over there in the Parry household in Cotton Ground. And then I'm heading up to Hamilton. Mr. Dennis Rollins is celebrating today. He's celebrating on Friday. Friday is tomorrow. Joya is tomorrow. Rudy is tomorrow. On Saturday, we're going back into the Parry household. Abigail Parry Julius will be celebrating on Saturday. And Abigail and Joya, let me tell you, the entire Parry household, and particular my good sister-in-law, Sister Lee Hobson, send the very best wishes to you. So I don't want to miss out that, and then I get chastised. On Monday, a good friend of mine, Elwin, will be celebrating a birthday. On Tuesday, it is Coach Cyan's birthday, and it is also extremely special because it's Susie's birthday as well. So all those persons will be celebrating, and so we embrace you with nothing but strong, strong love. Those are all who I have on the list, gentlemen.
Well, I haven't seen anybody pop up, so I'm assuming that we're good to go. I think, Ivor is saying real good all the way to the 31st.
That sounds like Ivor.
I don't see anybody else, so we're good to go.
Okay, good.
All right. So what are you going to leave? Happy birthday to you.
Let's go now.
There you go. After three. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday. No. I will lead off because I am messing it up.
You know you're supposed to do that.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. And as usual, from us in the studio, may you live to be 101, and us 101 minus a day, so we don't have to see you go. May God continue to bless you with good health, strength, and of course, wealth.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. Listen, I think where I want to start tonight is with the silent protests down there outside the Premier's office. That's fair enough? We can start there?
Hey, that's good.
Okay. Let me do the ones with the videos first. Back off on that just a little bit, and let me go here.
Good morning once again. We are at the conclusion of the silent protest. Dr. Hodge, final words?
Just happy for everybody who came out. We are putting it out there loud and clear. We are for Nevis and we will not be bullied. We must ensure that our government is transparent and be held accountable. We are for Nevis, not for Destiny.
All right. MP 11.
Yes, I'm MP 11 and we're here with this message that Nevis would not suffer at the hands of evil men, because they're good men and women who are standing up for Nevis and for our people to ensure that we don't have the disastrous development of Destiny.
All right, thank you. Tulu Weeks, you're here.
Standing for Nevis.
Standing for Nevis.
No to Destiny.
All right.
Am I sure?
Risha,
No to Destiny.
no to Destiny. Livy.
Not in this life or the next.
Okay. Colleen.
No to Destiny. Yes for Nevis.
All right.
No to Destiny.
All right. Miss Willard.
Destiny. Yes, for better health care.
Okay then. Well,
Apparently you got to go. Destiny has no stand in the country.
all right. Valerie?
I want the truth.
Okay then. Big.
The voices are speaking.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you all for a wonderful protest today. Oh yeah, you want a group photo? You need a... No,
Okay, and let's go to the other video from the silent protest one time. And
Good morning, folks. We're here just outside the Premier's Ministry at Pinners, and we are doing a half-day silent protest. And you can see some of the placards and some of the supporters who have turned up. We have been here since 7:30 this morning, and we are trying to bring a message to all and sundry, including the administration, that we are not going to sit down, we're not going to lay down and take this issue with Destiny for granted, and we are not going to be subsumed by a population of 30,000 foreigners making us a minority in our own country. So we're here to show the people of Nevis that there is active resistance to this issue with Destiny, and we're here to oppose forcefully the Premier's position that Destiny is the best thing for Nevis. It is the worst idea ever to come to Nevis, and the evidence is that no other Caribbean country has ever dared to move so quickly to accept such a existential threat to their own well-being. And so we are here this morning at Pinners to show our disgust and our disdain with the Premier's actions over the years. This project has been going on since 2017 secretly, and now we are now at the point where a decision must be made to end this nonsense once and for all. I'm going to ask the leader of the NRP, the Honorable Dr. Janice Daniel Hodge, for a few words. Dr. Hodge, good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Daly. And as you said, this is a situation that has become untenable. The Premier has been treating the people of Nevis with disrespect. He has betrayed our trust in our leadership, and we're here to say that there are alternatives. This is not the only option that we have. The secrecy and lack of transparency with which the Premier and this government operates, this is not democracy. And we as a people must stand up for what is right and not be consumed by what is being shoved down our throats, actually. We demand respect, we demand the type of leadership and the type of representation that is important and that the people of Nevis have come to know and to look forward to. And so we are saying this project, no to SSE, no to Destiny, and yes for Nevis. Let us put Nevis first. Nevis forward always.
And of course the newest member and candidate for Nevis 11, the man himself, MP 11, who just coming off a blast of a launch over there in St. Thomas's. Good morning, Mary. How are you, sir?
I am doing well, standing in Nevis 11 in the parish of St. Thomas's to give voice to the people of Nevis, who many of them are not able to speak up about this because of the intimidation and the fear. But I say that the only thing necessary for evil to prosper is for good men to do nothing. And Nevis will not have this plague. We have good men and women here in NRP. And so we are doing something, and we are saying that evil will not prosper here. We are saying no to Destiny, no to the SSC. And we are saying that our leaders must take heed and listen to the voice of the people.
Thank you, sir. Anybody else want to... Oh, over here you have the party organizer, Mr. Zell Hanley. Good morning, Zell. Your words?
Hi, good morning. I'm here to stand with my brothers and sisters to emphasize that Nevis is not for sale. Nevis is not for sale to benefit the rich and financially powerful and the sellouts, the local sellouts, who in few numbers making a decision, not sharing information with the people of Nevis, but at the same time want to make a decision to disadvantage the people of Nevis. So I am here to emphasize that Nevis is not for sale.
All right. And of course, my brother Carl here from Atlanta, he came in for a reunion, but he's here showing his support and love for his homeland Nevis. Good morning, Carl.
Morning.
All right. And of course, the famous Carlin, or should I say infamous, Carlin Lawrence, the one who really stirred up the ants nest for Mr. Brantley, and I don't think he has forgiven you, yeah?
Oh boy. Morning,
Good morning. And right here, of course, my big brother Hugh from St. Croix. Hugh, good morning.
Yes, sir.
All is well?
Yeah, all is well.
All right. And the lovely Risha is always in support of justice and righteousness for the people of Nevis. Good morning, Risha.
Morning.
Oh, wonderful.
No to destiny.
No
and
to destiny.
No to SS.
All right. And can't be forgotten, if one person going to show up to a protest, is this lady here, Iona Door, Muchacha from Bar. Good morning, Iona.
Morning.
All is well?
All is well.
All right. Thank you all.
Dr. Daly, I'm going to get Consuela to translate for me what you just said, the muchacha business. I'm going to look for me, Consuela, and ask her please to translate for me. Now, I'll tell you something. During the protest, the silent protest, and we got to tell you again and again and again, it was a silent protest. That's the most talking that you heard in the videos done by Dr. Daly. There was no shouting, there was no loudspeakers, no botheration,
No music.
and no music. I was getting ready for Powell Overload. Alan and I do a show. And I got a call from the superintendent, Carty, who sounded a little bit concerned and said that NRP had to comply with the instructions that were given. So I thought that all you done, they're making mass and confusion. When I look, I saw somebody called me and told me that police had come. You know, so I was getting me bail money ready because I wouldn't lie, stay in jail at all. Police came, had some conversations. Listen, there was a period from 2011 to 2013 when every day I went up to Bath Hotel where the Premier's office was, CCM had some people out there protesting. We never one time called police for them. As a matter of fact, a couple of times I offered them some water. You know, never called police for them. But they're concerned about a silent protest. And I'm told that even though that there it would normally have been a cabinet day, that all you didn't see one member of the cabinet?
They never showed. We were there well past 10. Nobody showed, not Spencer Brand, not Eric Evelyn, not the Premier, not any one of them showed up, not the junior ministers, nobody, Troy or Nisbet, nobody showed at all. We were told, I was told long after, I think it was probably going on to 11, when they were sure that we were gone. Then they popped up, and the Premier's explanation was that he was doing some site visits. Kind of incredulous story, but he was doing some site visits. But yeah, let me say this, and you know, the two police officers that came, I mean, they were quite cordial. Officer James and Jeffers, they were really trying their best not to antagonize or intimidate or try to intimidate. But our people, a lot of them weren't having it. I mean, Mrs. Willett and Risha and Zell, everybody was like, well, this is public property. How is it that we're trespassing on what belongs to the people? And so we decided, Dr. Hodge decided, listen, let us just, move back to the other side of the road. And that is where we were congregated. But it was all pointless for them to call the police because they never showed up. And we weren't going to intimidate them. We weren't going to say anything to them. We were simply going to demonstrate the fact that we did not appreciate what was this destiny idea was still on the books. And so, but I think by them sending the police, actually, it worked in our favor because people are seeing the desperation.
And it brought attention.
I mean, I saw one of the young officers today. I won't tell you which one. And he said, "Boy, Daly, you send me viral. You send me viral." And we had a good laugh about it. These are good fellas. These are good people, and doing their job, following orders. And it is really sad that the Premier and his officers and his ministers were intimidated by a handful of lawful protesters. We did have a permit to be there. And it was just a shameful exercise that the police were called on such a simple matter.
Listen, holy calls. we're going to get to a couple of things here with Destiny, but hold the calls. We're going to give you a signal when we are ready to take calls. But give us maybe another 15, 20 minutes before you start making the calls, and then we'll give you a signal. Before I get off of that, I'm happy that Officer Carty called, because at least I could relay the message to the team down there on the ground. But I really don't see the reason for the call, though, because nobody reported that the protest had become loud, boisterous, and unruly. As a matter of fact, I saw on the videos people going into work and saying good morning to you, greeting you, and you were quite friendly and so on. I just want to urge Officer Carty, don't get caught up in this politics thing again. And I say again because you remember that Officer Carty was taken to court by Matthew Macmillan. And this stems back from an election when Mark Brantley's wife called the police to report that a drone was up in the air over her yard. And she was so frightened that she jumped in a vehicle and chased after a vehicle. You're so scared that she left her premises, jumped in a vehicle, and chased after a vehicle that was in the area. But she wasn't sure if the drone was operated or controlled by any of the persons in that vehicle. Matt Macmillan was in St. Kitts taking a flight to go back to the United States of America. And he was detained on the instructions of people from here in Nevis. Remember, the Premier's wife made a call to say that a drone was up in the air. She's scared, so she chased after a vehicle that was outside. I don't know how Carty got involved, who instructed Carty to take the lead. But Officer Carty, according to the court documents that I saw, is the one who left Nevis, went down to St. Kitts to take over the case and to get involved with the arrest of Matthew Macmillan. Long story short, at the end of the story, Matt Macmillan was awarded $160,000 for wrongful arrest and all of that. Carty was involved. Mr. Carty, don't get yourself tangled up in politics because you want to bend over and carry out whatever instructions are given to you by the Premier or the Premier's wife or whoever. Don't get caught up again, Mr. Carty. Please. I like you. That's why I'm giving you good advice. Don't get caught up again. Anyway, let's go back to Destiny. The Prime Minister made a couple of statements about Destiny. Listen, when I've listened to it about 10 times, and the Prime Minister seemed to be talking out of both sides of his mouth. I really don't understand what he said. But let's play that.
On the matter of the Destiny Project, I think, let me clarify it for you. In the Constitution, the federal government cannot tell the Nevis Island Administration what to do with its land. So I want that to be. So if Nevis want to go build some big building tomorrow, it has nothing to do with me. No matter of fact, the Constitution tells me I cannot do it. So in terms of the construction and all of that, I cannot intervene in that. And I said that clear because I received a letter from a political figure in Nevis pointing that out to me. That I have, that based on the Constitution, that they wanted to remind me that I cannot tell Nevis what to do with its land. And so I was making that clarification to make sure that nobody accused me of violating the Constitution. It's a very serious matter to accuse a Prime Minister of violating the Constitution. And therefore I say, whatever Nevis want to construct, Nevis can. It is land and it's clear in the Constitution. So that absolved me. I said, to some extent, it is the Constitution is unfair and it needs reform in that sense because St. Kitts does not have that same privilege. I don't know if you all are aware. In the Constitution, Nevis exists. St. Kitts Nevis exists, but St. Kitts does not exist. So it means you can have a Prime Minister from Nevis who will oversee the land in St. Kitts and Nevis, but you can never have a Prime Minister from St. Kitts who can oversee the land in Nevis. So in that sense, there needs to be a serious conversation about constitutional reform. And I agree that Nevis should have purview over their land. And I agree that St. Kitts should have purview over its land. But that needs some reform. But nonetheless, I wanted to make sure that nobody thinks that I am abusing the Constitution. For the average man and woman, they may not see it that way, but for those who it matters to and who could bring a class action, who could bring some sort of lawsuit against the Prime Minister, I have to make sure I protect myself. And so I'm saying clearly today that I cannot tell Nevis what to do with their land and resources over there. I cannot do it. So therefore, please, nobody can take me to court. The issue, so that's one matter. The issue with the SSE to declare zone, which is a different matter. All I'm saying is that Nevis can build and construct what it wants. It just has to make sure, and then St. Kitts as well, not Nevis alone, St. Kitts as well, that nothing in any of these zones would violate the Constitution or our laws, which means can't have no court for themselves. The Commissioner of Police is in charge. Anything on the coast and the sea belong to the people of St. Kitts. You can have private beaches and all those kind of things. Social security, there's a law that governs everybody at St. Kitts and Nevis. So there are a number of things you just can't touch. And so if a proposal were to come that where you might have any of those things questioned, then it just can't happen on the basis of those things. But when it comes specifically to Nevis, if we were in St. Kitts, I can say clearly what we do with our land. But the SSZ is not to tell Nevis what they can and cannot do with their resources or their land. It is just to say that if you want to set up a zone, just make sure that the federal laws, which the Constitution is clear on, they must not be violated.
You bluff. My grandmother would have bluffed, or Martin Paul would have bluffed, and that's what you say. You know, you listen to that. The Prime Minister set up this ad hoc committee and he set up this advisory committee. And they admit that they received the formal proposal on the 29th of January. This looked like a proposal for us to get nuclear energy, because it is taking so long for them to make a decision and to make up their minds which way they are going and this. And in the meantime, they have not shared any information with the people of Nevis. But the Premier is talking, the Prime Minister is talking. The two of them don't seem to be on the same page. But one thing I would tell you, Dr. Daly and Tulu, the choice of date on Wednesday for the silent protests assumed even greater importance when I learned that at the same time you were having the silent protests, there was a major meeting at Four Seasons. A major meeting taking place at Four Seasons. I'm not sure if the Premier went, because when you listen to him and you hear him say it, I understand, he never said I was there, and he said that 4 matters were brought to the attention of the Nevis Island administration by the federal government. And perhaps what I should do is to read a release which they issued. It's entitled Federal Statement on Proposed Destiny Project. The federal government and the Nevis Island administration held a high-level meeting on July 23rd on 4 major issues arising from the application by Destiny International Limited and South Nevis Limited to establish the proposed Destiny project in Nevis. The meeting is the latest step in a review process that began when the Cabinet Secretary of the Nevis Island Administration formally transmitted the application to the federal government on January 29, 2026 under the Special Sustainability Zones Authorization Act 2025. On July 1st, 2026, Prime Minister the Honorable Dr. Terence Drew wrote to the Premier of Nevis, the Honorable Mark Brantley, identifying 4 major issues that had been determined by the federal cabinet to fall within the purview of the federal government. These issues were identified following consultation with and a review of input received from the Special Sustainability Zones Ad Hoc Committee and the Independent Oversight Committee, both of which included members drawn from a range of civil society organizations across the Federation. The Premier of Nevis responded on July 6, 2026, recommending that a high-level meeting be convened to address the 4 issues. The meeting took place on July 23, 2026. The discussions held at the meeting, together with the fundamental project changes proposed there, are to be presented to the federal government. They will then be relayed to the Independent Oversight Committee for its input before being returned to the federal cabinet for consideration. Prime Minister Drew said that the process to date had already produced meaningful revisions to what was first put forward. The Prime Minister reiterated the constitutional position he set out in his official statement of March 10, 2026, noting that the federal government does not exercise a general jurisdiction over development on Nevis. The federal government's role, he explained, arises where a proposal engages federal responsibilities and national constitutional questions, including immigration, customs, citizenship, law enforcement and prosecution, the courts, treaty obligations, public finance, financial regulation, and the operation of federal laws. There will be no compromise as far as any of our laws or our constitution is concerned with any project in St. Kitts or in Nevis, the Prime Minister stated. The Constitution is supreme. No agreement and no development will be permitted to displace the Constitution. Consequently, no final decision has been made on the matter. The process is intended to bring clarity to the proposal in the best interest of all. The federal government will continue to work with the Nevis Island administration in a spirit of cooperation and mutual respect, and to keep the public informed as the matter progresses. Long story. And all of that length of story, the Premier requested the meeting. And we are advised that he didn't turn up to the meeting. That's not a good sign.
Well, I listened to the tape, the clip with Dr. Drew several times. And I became more and more uneasy with what I was hearing. Because his position regarding the conflicts with the Constitution, he is now making it clear that there will be, that's a red line in the sand, that there cannot be ever any situation where the Constitution is called into question, where issues of sovereignty are being debated. But it makes me wonder, gentlemen, if you read the SSC Act, because it is clearly articulated in the SSC Act, these very same things. Given Destiny the right to have implemented their zone laws, giving them the right to have their own port and customs, all those things were incorporated in the Act. So if you read the Act and passed the Act, and if you are the mover of the Act, of the bill, then of course that would make me believe that you have already consented to these issues. Because what then would have prompted the Chamber of Industry and Commerce to object? What then would have prompted the legal fraternity to say, wait a minute, there are conflicts here with this act? What then would have caused Charles Wilkin, the father of the AG, to write this lengthy response personally to Dr. Drew, pointing out all of the instances of conflicts with the Constitution? He did this based on what the law said, because we had not seen and have not seen the full extent of the proposal. So his objection and the Chamber's objection focused squarely on what was given in the SSC Act, which made everybody feel uncomfortable. So if Dr. Drew is now saying what he's now saying, that he cannot tolerate any infringement on the Constitution, I'm wondering then, why did he table this piece of legislation? Had he not read it to see that it was inherently unconstitutional, that there were areas clearly delineated and defined, that there were conflicts? I read several times the letter by Charles Wilkin to the Prime Minister, showing copious instances where the SSC Act conflicted with Social Security, with labor, with the court, with police enforcement, with customs, line by line by line by line. And so to hear the Prime Minister come now in his last shower reign and said that he is drawing the red line in the sand and will not tolerate any infringement, I find it incredibly shocking, actually. But move on from that. Move on from that. This statement by Dr. Drew this afternoon, this meeting would have happened yesterday. I don't know if the statement came out yesterday or today, but I just saw it early this evening. And in and of itself, it makes you wonder, in truth, gentlemen, whether the Prime Minister and the Premier are singing from the same book. Not even the same page, the same book. Because I'm certain, Carol, you have a tape of the Premier's press conference.
And that's lined up for next.
Yes. And so the two are diametrically opposed, two diametrically opposed positions. And my simple thing is this. We were told by the Prime Minister that the reports from both the Oversight Committee and the Ad Hoc Committee that looked at the conflicts with the Constitution, both of those will be laid in Cabinet and in Parliament for full discussion. And then it begs the question, why are then we having this meeting of the parties, as I call it, at the Four Seasons yesterday, when what the preliminary report from these committees have not even been ventilated? What was the point of it? I mean, it just seemed to be putting and put, and you have not yet resolved the initial problems you have. And so I'm at a loss to understand why the Premier, in the first instance, would ask for the meeting, and second instance, why would the Prime Minister agree to the meeting, and to have Destiny present at the table at the same time. I find it very uncomfortable, very, very uncomfortable, that you're having a meeting with Destiny. The Premier has his team. I don't know who the team members were. He's a high level. I don't know who the team members were from the Syncits end. I don't know who represented Destiny. But yet they had this private meeting about what's happening in Nevis. And we have yet, all that the Premier would have said is that the 4 points of contention have been resolved. He never iterated, he never informed us what these points were. I am assuming they had to do with conflicts highlighted in a letter by Charles Wilkin to the Prime Minister regarding conflicts with the Constitution. I'm assuming that's what we're talking about. But he never said anything. He just said the 4 points, as far as he knows, were resolved. How do you resolve the constitutional conflicts? How? Somebody's clearly lying. You know, and I yet can't understand why the Prime Minister is allowing this can to be kicked further and further down the road without a definitive statement to say, listen, the SSC as constructed must be repealed because it conflicts directly with our Constitution. If you're such a constitutional scholar, and you don't even need to be a scholar, Mr. Drew, Dr. Drew, if you are so concerned that this is the living life document of our people, this Constitution, why are you allowing language in the SSC Act that contradicts what you're saying? Because clearly you are being contradicted by your own law. How is this possible? I don't want to get all worked up, but
listeners, continue to hold your calls. We're going to get through a couple of things and then we'll take your calls. But just be a little bit patient with us. The Prime Minister admitted to receiving the document, let me make sure I get it right, January 29th. It took him 5 months and a couple of days to respond because he didn't respond until the 1st of July. So, January 29th, okay, it's Carnival. But Carnival is, the Prime Minister works every day. Carnival is over. They get to work on this. 5 months later, he responded. They had identified 4 main areas. We wrote to the Premier 5 days later. The Premier said, let's have a high-level meeting. What concerns me as much as it does you, Dr. Daly, is that having received those 4 main areas, I thought that it would have been prudent for the federal government and the Nevis Island administration to sit down and discuss those 4 main areas. But what this story is telling us, that is not what happened. They had a discussion with the federal representatives, the Nevis representatives, and Destiny. They were in there. So it's not that, hey, listen, let me trash out this first, and then let us talk to Destiny to see if we can get them to change. Bring them in one time.
It's crazy. It's crazy. And if Mark Brantley, as the press release indicated, which I didn't know before, asked for the meeting, and he would have invited Destiny, the meeting should have never occurred.
Exactly.
The meeting should have never occurred. The federal government had no right to be engaging in conversation with Destiny at this point in time. This is beyond Destiny. They have submitted their proposal. The proposal is to be reviewed by the federal cabinet, by the federal parliament, by the Nevis Island Assembly. That is where it belongs right now. They have submitted all of their changes. This is the final proposal that Brantley said has gone through 40 or so changes and iterations. Why are you sitting down with them at this point in time? It has to be that Brantley insisted that Destiny sit in the seat to put more pressure on the federal government to move expeditiously to sign this document. Whatever backdoor trick they're trying, I hope Dr. Drew understands who he's dealing with. Because I can't see how you are negotiating our future with Destiny, who is trying to destroy our future in the same room. It is crazy.
But the process itself seems to be, it seems to be that it will continue to be drawn out. Because the Prime Minister indicated that this has to be referred to the Oversight Committee again. And then from the Oversight Committee back to Cabinet.
But Carl, I don't understand something. It means the Prime Minister has been double speaking, because he, if I memory serves me, correct me if I'm wrong, he told us that once he has received the report from the Oversight Committee. No, it wasn't the Oversight Committee. It was the ad hoc committee having to do with constitutional conflicts. That those conflicts will be forwarded to the AG. The AG will make amendments to the SSD and bring it in Parliament for ratification. Wasn't that the plan?
That was the plan.
So why are we now being hearing, after the fact, that these meetings are happening continuously? Well, they're not continuously. It's one meeting so far that we know about. But why then are we engaging in a conversation with Destiny when we've already said this is the process we're going to follow?
And we've had no follow-up on the SSZ amendments.
Nothing. Nothing. We have not seen even the preliminary report from the Oversight Committee. Has that been published?
No.
Has it been debated in Parliament?
No.
So why are we now second-guessing ourselves, sitting down again with Mark Brantley and Destiny on a matter that is supposed to be prosecuted in Cabinet and in Parliament? Why is Destiny a part of this discussion at this point in time? It's absurd.
Let's hear the clip from Mark Brantley. I'll tell you what we're going to do. Let me set out the field. We'll hear the clip from Mark Brantley. We will tell you about the best breakfast in the whole of Nevis. And we'll tell you about something else which is happening on Saturday, which is also the best, a soup day in Gingerland. And then we will come back and we will take your phone calls. So in that order. So let's go with the, no, I think we should do the ads first. Let's do the ads first, and then we come straight into playing all of those clips.
PICO, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Pinney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. PICO, the way to go.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other other hormone disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you'll never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
And we're back. Dr. Daly, tell us about the best breakfast in the whole federation.
Oh man, I can't wait. Saturday can't come fast enough. That's in 2 days. Tomorrow we start doing our preps, and then Saturday morning, 6:30 by the latest, we're kicking off the best breakfast in the federation. By next breakfast in August, we'll have the best breakfast in the OECS. But we're going to settle for the federation for the first breakfast. But we're inviting you all out on Saturday morning, this Saturday morning, 25th, for the St. Paul's breakfast. And it will be a blast, as usual. Good food, good company, good vibes, good energy. And I must confess, Carlisle, that I think we are a bit too successful for our own good. The food does not last, and we get cussed. But it's still all good. But I must confess also that I'm disappointed this time around with the number of persons who have donated. I think only two or three persons have seen fit to donate to the breakfast, which is very, very important to a lot of people in Charlestown, in the greater Charlestown area, who have become dependent and expectant on a good breakfast, courtesy of the NRP St. Paul's. But we'll work with what we have. We do appreciate the past contributions. Not everybody have it like that anymore because the electricity bills are killing everybody. And so we do appreciate the fact that people are under immense pressure, personal financial pressure, and they might find it difficult at this time to give a little bit to help others. But we do appreciate past contributions. But I'm just excited that we again having the most scrumptious breakfast in the entirety of the Federation of St. Kitts and Nevis. And we'll pass on a few secrets to Gingerland, who have been trying their best. We've been trying their best to keep up.
The man pointing at me. Tell him stop pointing at me.
Excuse me, I turned my head and started smiling.
And you're still cheap.
Still $20.
Still $20.
And I got one more addition because since the saltfish normally runs out, we have doubled up on the amount of saltfish we are cooking. And so, you will get what you want this time around.
Okay, so, and that is right there by the roundabout, by Papa's Grill.
Right by Papa's
and
Grill.
They start at 6:30. They normally sell out by 7:30. So place your orders and come early. Mrs. Isaac is one of my favorite cooks in the whole world, and she's involved, so I gotta come. And when you finish with that, head up to Gingerland, because they're going to have Arby Food soup sale, and they will be having stripe and mutton soup, fish soup, lentil soup. They will have cassava bread and all kind of nice things. So get your breakfast. They're starting at 7. So they give you half an hour to go downtown and get your breakfast, and then switch over to Gingerland, where you are going to be getting your soup. And then one more thing I'll tell you about this weekend. The Nevis Cricket Association Bank of Nevis Division 2 finals is scheduled for Saturday. And the youths of Nevis, led by Sharma, will be coming up against the Nevis Cricket Association under 16 team. Imagine that. Nevis Cricket Association put in an under 16 team in the league, and that team, the first time around, has made it all the way to the finals.
Wonderful.
So that is led by Bolo. And so come to the park on Saturday. It's a 40 over final, start at 11 o'clock.
Admission?
And no admission. Just go by the bar and buy a drink, buy some chicken. And that's all we say to you. Let's go back to the Premier now, because the Premier called for a meeting and then didn't go to the meeting. Let's hear what he had to say in his press conference today. And then after this, we are going to open up to take your calls. And because you have been waiting for almost an hour, we believe that you should already have what you have to say sorted out. So make your presentations. If you got to come back in a second time, you come back in a second time. But when you come on the first time, make sure that you make your presentation very well. And then let's see if other people want to make presentations.
The Destiny Project, you say it's at a standstill. The Prime Minister made some comments, and it's a matter for me that is a little curious. I'm trying to, as I get older, to be more tempered in my language. I say that because, Monsieur, that I saw what was being sent around and saying the Prime Minister has just said no and killed the Destiny Project. And I listened to it, and then I said, maybe I missed something. So I listened to it again, and then I said, well, let me go to sleep and wake up and listen to it a third time. And I can't hear anything in this comment that really said anything about killing any project. So I don't understand the hype. I believe what is happening is there's some people who want the project to be killed. And so they're grabbing at any little statement that is made to say, well, that the project is now dead. Let me update you that there was yesterday a very high-level meeting between representatives from the federal government, representatives from the Nevis Island administration, and representatives from the Destiny developers. And the meeting would have occurred at the Four Seasons Resort, and it took up a significant part of yesterday. And the whole purpose behind that meeting was to iron out some remaining issues. The Honorable Prime Minister would have written to me indicating that, having considered the matter of the Cabinet, they had 4 issues that were of some concern, and those issues, I am advised, would have been resolved in that meeting that occurred yesterday. And if that is the position, it now means, therefore, that we should be in a position to move forward with that particular project.
But that is not the case. The issues were not resolved in the meeting which was held yesterday, because the Prime Minister made it clear that whatever they discussed still has to go back to that ad hoc committee. And not only that, the Premier is trying to put a little breathing tube on the face of the Destiny Project, and he is trying to resuscitate it. But the Prime Minister made it clear that matters where he will definitely not compromise have to do with citizenship. And if this is not a CBI program, if these people can't get citizenship, it's dead. It's dead, if they can't get citizenship. Law enforcement, and you know that the way that they had it set up, they didn't want our police to come inside their walled city. The courts, they wanted to have their own court. They didn't want to pay social security and those kind of things. So unless those matters are sorted out and they are told that our labor laws are your labor laws because you're in the state of St. Kitts and Nevis, then they have a problem.
But then why not just simply repeal the SSD Act? Why not simply do that and let them come through as a normal development, which everybody would appreciate? But once you're going to start to be talking about these, SSDA, that is in itself is the problem. And Dr. Drew is adamant that they're separate and apart. They're not. They're twinned together. One does not exist without the other. But it is convenient to say they're separate for whatever reason. Whatever reason he chooses to put in his mind that they're separate. One informs the other. There cannot be a Destiny without SSZ.
True.
All right? So I do not understand this whole effort of trying to disaggregate the two entities. They're twinned together. They're Siamese twins. And so I just find it, really nonsensical to do that. But to the point of all these issues all the issues that are being spoken about has to do with direct conflicts with our constitution, which is being facilitated by the SSD Act itself. Why is this so? This is not rocket science. Rocket science. This is clear. If you want a destiny development in its how they are thinking about it, a state within a state, a enclave, citadel city, whatever they want to call it, that cannot exist in our constitution. It cannot. Why are we beating a dead horse with this? The horse is dead.
Well, the Premier says it's not dead, and the Prime Minister has not killed it. But you're saying that repeal the SSC and come back in as a normal development. Janssen has made it clear that two things he really wants. The two things that he really wants will fall under the ambit of the Prime Minister. Prime Minister said, I'm not going to give. He wants security for his own, and he wants no tax. Those are the two things that are important to him, paying no taxes at all. The Prime Minister said when it comes to social security, that's a no-no. When it comes to basically having your own security, that it's a no-no. What the Prime Minister should have said, all around that bubble what is going on there, saying what Destiny wants in terms of the infringement on the constitutional rights of the Prime Minister or the Constitution of the St. Nevis. It cannot happen. Leave it there and it's done. The kind of language that he was there using, like you're washing a young baby skin. Call it straight up. And so he gives the Premier a little bit of boost with his technical and his legal jargon to say, no, it's not dead. And what the Premier said, I have the Prime Minister in my back pocket. So the Prime Minister could say what he wants. I am saying that this is not dead. It is going to take place.
But what is, Carl, I would have read out the statement by the Prime Minister, right? And I want to take a piece of it out, if I may, and show you here. He says, this is the Prime Minister speaking, there will be no compromise as far as any of our laws or our Constitution is concerned. Let me read that very slowly. There will be no compromise as far as any of our laws or our Constitution is concerned with any project in St. Kitts or in Nevis. The Constitution is supreme. No agreement and no development will be permitted to displace the Constitution. Gentlemen, what am I missing here? Because this directly opposes the very essence of the SSD.
That's true.
So then why not repeal it? Now that you're seeing the light, now that you're being written to by the chamber, now that you've been advised by your ad hoc committee, by your oversight committee, now that you've heard all of the legal expertise out there telling you, Mr. Prime Minister, there are conflicts here that cannot be resolved with the present context of what Destiny wants, then why not simply repeal the SSC and say, listen, this is the new law of the land. This is a new framework for any development concerning SEZ or SSD. And let's move forward from there, because this, in its present context, cannot be resolved. It is irresolvable, if there's such a word. It cannot be resolved.
The Prime Minister.
How do you resolve something that is embedded in law, in the SSC, that clearly is now unconstitutional? How do you change that? The Prime Minister has not instructed the AG to bring the amendments to the Parliament. You know why? Because then if he was to bring those amendments, the SSC would not exist.
And he's too arrogant to pull it back?
But if you are going to, the SSC, in its pure form, directly contradicts the Constitution.
Then you have to
What
repeat it.
amendment can you make sufficient to change that? You can't.
No, you have to repeat
Hi, good evening, caller.
Yeah, good evening, Carla. I love the conversation tonight, but when you come around me, I know destiny is dead, still torn dead, and all who want destiny is some bad-minded people and people who just think about their own self and they don't know they're blocking their own development. Now, Carlisle, if you ask me to build a house for you, the first thing you have to show me is the land. And then the second thing you have to show me is a plan. And then after you gave me that plan, I have to go and get an estimation. Now, up to now, we don't see nothing what Destiny proposing. So, this junkie trooper that we have here, but let me get off of him. But let me ask you this question before I go, because sometimes it don't make sense to talk about the junkie trooper. Because I think if he was acting like a lawyer, Nevis will have been better off. But the acting with the bad mind and the hate and the grudge for Nivision. Let me ask you this as a cricket administrator. The Junkins trooper going to send Willie to Barbados for Gary Sober's funeral? Good night.
You have a good night, sir.
Sometimes, right? Carla is stumped.
I just they get stumped easy.
The only person seems to believe that there is a future for Destiny as it stands is the Premier of Nevis. The Prime Minister, he's saying that he cannot read in what the Prime Minister said, that Destiny cannot go forward as it was constructed and was presented.
Hold a minute, Tulu. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carlisle. Good evening, Tulu.
How are you
And
tonight?
Good afternoon. I am doing well. How about you?
I am excellent.
Good evening to Dr. Daly.
Good evening.
One of the things I heard, which really threw me back, but I'm not sure I should even allow it to throw me back, because we should have learned to expect the unexpected. One of the comments that I heard our leader say is the fact that people keep talking about seeing the contract and seeing the contract, and the changes that are going on with this contract constantly. So there's nothing to show, because the changes we keep changes. The document is being changed. So what then is Dr. Drew sitting and trying to make a decision on what, if it's constantly being changed? What then is this ad hoc committee working on if this thing is constantly being changed? The constant change is probably with a couple of men over a couple of years who think they control, but they don't. This whole thing is very laughable, Carla, or gentlemen. And it sickens me to the core that divisions are being made to look so stupid, absolutely stupid with this whole thing. I mean, I came online early enough to think I heard you talking about a meeting yesterday, but I didn't hear all of the details about the meeting yesterday. But we have had members of the NIA say on another radio station that they would love to support the project, but they have not seen it. And I was taken aback, because if a member of the NIA have not seen this, then what is it that they're in a meeting discussing? What is really happening? Why is the Premier treating the people of Nevis like this? And this, to me, if nothing else, should be the reason why divisions should not even have a thought about allowing this person to continue to lead, to be the leader of our country. Where are we going? What is happening? But this, it's not making sense. And it's getting to the point now where I'm not even sure that what Dr. Drew is saying is also making sense. But then Dr. Drew, if he has to keep changing and discussing based on the changes that we're hearing are constantly in this document, then maybe he too is confused. I wouldn't be surprised to know that he's confused, and the company. So it's just a whole barrel of confusion.
Thank you very much, caller.
We sound so foolish, and I'll tell you something. Carla, just give me one more minute, I beg you. People out there are listening to us. The people that are trying to do this to Nevis right now have been listening to us for years, and they know what they can get away with. And one last thing, this thing about these 15 guns in a container.
We ain't reached that. We ain't reached that yet. We're gonna come to that. We ain't reached that yet. Thank you very much, caller. Hi, good evening, caller. I had somebody on the straight line. It seemed like we lost that caller. Gentlemen, I tell you what concerns me as well. The fact that while we're doing this, Mr. Johnson had already proposed to Nevis. Let me pause this, put this on pause. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, gentlemen.
How are you tonight?
To God be the glory. Gentlemen, I don't know what it means, but I like to use what I hear on the road. If you mess with the dog, you rise with the fleas. And I won't go further. Something in the matter beside the pestle. I'm going way back to come forward. I wouldn't be long. You know the premier went down to St. Kitts, right? At a political meeting in Greenland. And he said, tell Dr. Douglas the sheriff was here. There was then a dispute between the Labour Party and Nevis Island government. Fast forward to presently. How did Dr. Joe become buddy-buddy with the Premier? He is representing the Labour Party, what according to the Premier on mouth said that he destroyed something in the matter beside the pestle. One day we will get the full story. All what is happening to Dr. Joe now, he is between a rock and a hard place. He has to say something, because let me tell you, I am head of state, and you insulted me by bringing people there when I'm not supposed to be having a meeting with you. But when you see people overstep the bounds, they have something on you. Good night and goodbye.
Have a good night, caller. I tell you what concerns me. The fact that we're here negotiating with destiny, not we. Mark Brantley and his people are negotiating with destiny. And destiny out of the blue say, hey, listen, they're going to give all you, everybody in Nevis, $30 a month. And then people look at him and say, hey, listen, man, you don't know your place, about $30. And he say, okay, I'm going to raise it to $100. And the Nevis people didn't bother with him. So what does he do the next time? He said, I'm going to build a dialysis unit for you. We're going to come back to that after this call. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, caller, and Dr. Daly and Tulu.
Good evening.
Caller, I have a stupid question to ask. And Daly, please educate me. Tulu, please educate me. But I'm really ignorant. Did the Prime Minister in his press conference, or whatever he had, said that he has, or the Constitution prevents him, or he has no control over what Nevis does with their land and resources? Did he say that?
He said something to that effect more than once. And the Constitution does give Nevis full authority. Just that Mark gave it back. Just that Mark gave it back to the Prime Minister.
So tell me something, Carla. Here's a stupid question. Well, that means then that geothermal, that the Prime Minister shouldn't have any say over geothermal in Nevis, if that is the case, because geothermal is a resource in Nevis. Am I correct?
But Mark gave that to the Prime Minister. He gave that to the federal government.
So if this is supposed to be an SSE zone, and it's expected or anticipated that they will be using geothermal whenever that comes on stream, correct?
Well, they are mandated to provide a certain percentage of the energy that they use from renewables.
So who will control that?
How do you mean?
Would
Who?
it be Sinkits? Would it be Sinkits controlling it or Nevis controlling it?
Destiny.
There you go. Listen, we're going to do something on geothermal, and I'm going to be presenting to the public some charts which showed the results of explorations in that area. I found them the other day. I still have them. And you will see that there is potential for geothermal over in the south of Nevis.
Well,
Mark Brantley and his people, he and his people might not even be aware of it because they're not good readers. They might not even be aware of it. But there is potential for geothermal in the south of Nevis.
Carl, I'll just finish with this. I am of the opinion and the impression that it's either the Prime Minister is not taking what the ad hoc committee might have recommended, and he just means to plow ahead to please Mark. Something is going on there, because we don't know what those 4 major sticking points are. All right, but he keeps harping on the fact that he cannot tell Nevis government what to do with their lands and so forth. Well, the lands have our resources. The lands hold our resources. So how is it you get control, even though Mark has given you control of our geothermal resources?
He has the final sign-off authority. So he might be correct in saying that according to the Constitution, he can't tell Nevis what to do with their lands, but he has convinced Mark that he should give him signing off authority on these matters. So he, in fact, has some control, a lot of control.
So there's a lot of things that we really need to iron out here and work out here with the dear Prime Minister. I think it's Nevis. I'll end there.
Thank you very much. One little point I would disagree with you on, and it has to do with the Prime Minister and this ad hoc committee, because apparently some, if not all, of what they recommended were included in that 4-point plan that they had, which they needed further clarity on. So I will just leave it there for now. But I was making the point about dialysis, that these people are negotiating to get the big Destiny project done. And every now and again, they do something that make you wonder, like the $30, like the $100. And then the CCM administration, who had 2 dialysis units in a 40-foot container, brought to Nevis brand new. This government made the point that they're not interested in dialysis because nothing was set up for dialysis. They spent $100,000 on a trip to Guyana to say that they were looking for nurses and they were looking for a nephrologist and all of that. But they're not interested in dialysis. 13 deaths later, all of a sudden, the Destiny people were asked to provide a dialysis center for us here in Nevis. And they're doing that. And this is what the Premier had to say today.
Establishing a dialysis center. The Nevis Island Administration, in collaboration with Renal Dynamics and private sector partners, is advancing the Alexandra Hospital's first dedicated dialysis facility. The initiative demonstrates a shared commitment to enhancing healthcare quality, accessibility, and resilience for the people of Nevis. I'm advised that the equipment has been ordered and is currently on island and in storage. And the construction, I'm advised, should be completed in short order. I'm told Q3. We're now going into Q3, and so it should be completed in short order. We are hopeful, ladies and gentlemen, that we will be able to dialyze our first patients this year, 2026. You may ask quite properly, how did we get here? And we got here because when we started discussions with the developers for the proposed Destiny project, they did say to us, what does the island need? What do you feel that we can contribute to the island that would have a tangible impact? And having discussed with the cabinet, our conclusion was that it was an opportunity for the island to have a dialysis center. I want to make it clear that the developers of the Destiny project have donated the money for the construction of the facility, the money for the procurement of the equipment, and they have agreed to fund the operations of the facility for the next 2 years. What that does is it allows the government then to budget, to look at how we will continue thereafter. But it was an opportunity which, in our view as a government, it would have been foolish for us to forego.
Gentlemen, I have two problems here. One, the Premier has waited from 2013 until 2026 to have this Damascus moment and come to the realization that there are people in Nevis who are suffering from renal failure and that they need to be dialyzed in Nevis. He has come to this moment after allowing 2 brand new units to go to waste. And all of the fluids that were here to go to waste. 13 people have died. Countless people have had their challenges. And Mark Brantley has just come to the realization that, boy, this is something good and that NRP was on the right track. You see, in a moment like this, I pray. Tulu would be happy when he hear me say I pray. And you know what I pray for? I pray for my partner, Fidel Castro, to come back alive and come to Nevis and take over the island for a little bit and line up all of those who caused those 13 deaths and who it took 13 years for them to understand that this dialysis is a much needed project here in Nevis, and just line them up and tell them, hey, listen, explain to me why you allow those people to die. Second point that I have in contention with Mark Brantley. Mark Brantley is, listen, if you give him 1 minute to tell a lie. My advice is that he said that Destiny donated all the money for the construction. My advice is that about $500,000 has come from our treasury, not from Destiny. From that we, the Nevis Island administration, having not budgeted for this dialysis unit, that we have had to pay almost $500,000. And Mark Brantley watched the reporters today and told them that all of that was donated by Destiny. Really, if I rang, but that is not what I'm hearing. I'm not hearing that they donated the money for no construction or no building.
Tell me you got Dr. Daly. Daly, now it goes.
It is a fact, indisputable fact, that the NIA has had to pay the labor cost for the construction of the unit, which is about $420,000. It is a fact, furthermore, that the NIA would have had to bear the cost for the electrical supplies and the labor of the electricians to install those supplies.
Separate
It is a fact. It is a fact that the government would have had to pay for the mobilization and the land preparation. These are facts. It is also a fact that the government would have fronted the money for Destiny to procure the soft equipment, the chairs, the tables, the desk, with the promise of them being reimbursed at some point in the future. These are all facts, indisputable facts, that the government has been lying and continues to lie that Destiny is footing the bill, the entirety of this project. It's untrue, categorically untrue. And he knows it. But he feels that we do not know. But we do know. Because you cannot hide this level of expenditure in a public system and people don't notice. I mean, it is foolish. Why not simply tell the truth and say, listen, we have entered into a partnership. And if this thing was so noble and so upright and above board, why delay for 5 months
To tell us.
to tell the people what is going on? Why keep saying, I am not in a position? Because that was his favorite line. I am not in a position at this point to disclose. He didn't even want to admit it was a dialysis unit. He didn't even want to have a conversation about it. Now, does this sound like a premier who is in control of this narrative? How did he expect to hide a $500,000 expenditure from the people of Nevis? Whether it was immediately discovered or it will be borne out from the auditor's report in 2027, sorry. It will have been discovered. And the question must be asked. If you have not budgeted for it, and because we would have gone back and, of course, checked the budgets to see, did the NIA allocate any resource, even $1, even $10 towards a dialysis center? No money allocated. So it means, therefore, that the budget that was passed in 2025, which funds the activities of the government in 2026, you broach that. Because in that budget, people must understand the budget is a now living legal document that prescribes how the government is supposed to spend the people's resources. If you are going to alter any part of that, you need to do what you call a reallocation warrant. You need to come back to Parliament, bring it to Parliament and say, gentlemen, there's an unexpected expenditure, and we either need to move money from this ministry to that ministry or to inject new money from outside of the government into these new ministries. That's how it works. These are procedural issues for Parliament to resolve. But it's important for people to understand. Brantley has been hiding this Destiny involvement in the dialysis center for the obvious reasons that he felt that people would be upset about it, and rightly so.
Hi, good evening, caller.
Hello, good evening, gentlemen. This is Livingstone Williams, a.k.a. Stoneman.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening. This whole situation with this dialysis unit, it stinks of being a bribe. Anywhere in the world, if a company or an organization was looking to get something from the government, either a contract or any kind of favor, and they did something like this, let me ask you something. What else and who else has been paid and bribed and compromised?
It's a good question.
Have a good evening, gentlemen.
Thank you very much. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good night, Carla and Jerry.
Good night.
Yeah, I wasn't surprised, if the man cannot give an account to $500 million, but that's a small money to $500 million. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
You can't give an account to Timothy Harris, the former Prime Minister, over $500 million. That's all $500 million. So how he could give an account to the people in Nevis unless he keep telling lies and lies? I have no memory. So that's his job, is to keep on telling lies to people. And there are certain people in Nevis keep sucking these big pills, even though he's choking them. They're still fighting to swallow it, and they know they can't get it swallowed. I don't understand them. People, I got to understand where this man really taking us. This is a serious time. Election coming around, you know, and like the caller said, you know, somebody getting paid out of that money, you know. Don't besides, if some of the money there going to election fund coming up, don't be surprised. Within half a year.
Thank you very much. Listen, the caller before made a very strong point, you know, and that point had to do with bribery.
Of course.
When we were doing the airport project, Mr. A. Michael Perkins was the project manager. The people who got the contract to build the terminal, those people couldn't even post a performance bond, but they get it work. In a report that I saw from Lashley, you know what they said? Mr. Michael Perkins accepted a trip from Grupo Deca to go to Venezuela. He said in their organization that would have been flagged and he would have been fired. Let me go to the phone lines. Good evening, caller.
Hi, good evening. I am listening to what you just explained about who is really paying for the dialysis unit up by the hospital, and I do believe what you gentlemen are saying, because it is in line with the way these Destiny people have operated with us from the time they arrived. They have never offered anything to Nevis and to Nivisians from the start. They came with the proposal. They're going to have their own healthcare, their own school system, their own electricity, and it's only when it's leaked and we find out about the things that they're doing, then they run to change, and then suddenly they're going to give our students scholarship. But they never came initially offering anything to our young people. Then all of a sudden they're going to help our hospitals, but they never came initially offering to help our healthcare system. They were satisfied with having everything working perfectly in their zone, and we out here could be without electricity for all they care. And our premier has agreed with them because he's just pushing for us to accept Destiny. They came with, if we reneged, it would cost us billions. If they reneged, it would cost millions. So they were always screwing us from the jump. They never came with the interests of Nevis and Nivisians. They try to convince you to sell your lands for a development without telling you what the development is, offering you the least amount of money for your land. Sometimes they convince people to sell without telling them what they're selling to, and then turn around and ridicule you for selling, although you didn't know what it was you were getting involved in. So our premier joined with these people against us to that level. You know, so I do believe that they're building that building while he telling us that they're giving it to us. I don't believe them. And they got to be that we are giving them back something greater than we're getting from them. Because since Destiny come here, or is trying to get here, they have been against us with the support of our premier from the jump. That's my observation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller.
Let me say one thing, Carla, before you go to break. I'm sorry I don't have a copy of the Integrity in Public Life ordinance in front of me to quote directly. But I remember distinctly that it warns government ministers and all those who have to report to the Integrity in Public Life. It warns them to be careful of persons who are offering bribes. Do not and report those persons to the Integrity Commission. It is clear beyond any issue that what Destiny did was to offer a bribe to the premier. And the premier apparently accepted it. Because if you are saying to us, we'll give you a dialysis unit, something that government always wanted, and they couldn't afford, the key thing, they can't afford it. That's what the government claimed. They couldn't afford it in the past. So we're going to give it to you. And around the table, our cabinet of ministers are listening to this proposal from Destiny. I'm going to give you a dialysis unit. It's valued at $3 million. How then doesn't that prejudice that cabinet? Doesn't that now put them in a position where they want this unit so badly they cannot say no?
Let me take an overseas call. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, caller. I'm back again on this dialysis. I anticipated that this would come up. But Dr. Daly and Tulu, let me just say to the Nevis public, what Johnson is doing is buying access to the NIA. That is what he's clearly doing, through bribery. And this is the way these libertarian and free society people operate. Nations need to understand that. Now let me hit the dialysis part of it. Carlyle, are you aware of the fact that no plans was submitted to physical planning regarding a dialysis unit?
I made an inquiry and I was told that. I was told that no plans were submitted. No plans were submitted for the airport either.
So how do you design and construct a dialysis unit without informing physical planning or submitting plans to physical planning? And Mark Brantley has made comments about not knowing what the structure was about. Had no idea, just like how he had no idea about Destiny. But yet still his wife was selling lands in the area, but he had no idea. So Mark always doesn't have any idea whenever he's asked about a potential project or whatever. Never has any idea. But then the project comes on stream. It's quite interesting, Carla, that after 13 years, Mark has now found. You remember, Mark was the same one who said when Chef came to Nevis to do the kidney screening that he will stop Chef and he will do it again.
Yep.
And prevent them from screening the people of Nevis, as if people don't have a right to determine what kind of health care they need. It was Mark Brantley who made those comments and went on radio and said that. Okay? I hope Nevisians remember this. Second point. Well, 13 years ago you didn't need dialysis, a dialysis unit. Well, I'm wondering what data is Mark using to determine that he needs a dialysis unit at the said Alexandria Hospital that NRP had units. I'm wondering what he used, or what data did Janssen and Destiny use to determine that a dialysis unit is needed. What are they going by? Who designed the plans for the dialysis unit? The dialysis unit is an interesting piece of architecture, and it has to be done right. And who are the people? Where are these people going to be trained to run and operate the dialysis unit? I mean, how do we accept these things in Nevis? How do we continue to accept Mark Brantley's lies about these projects? Had Mark been in any other country, Mark would have been out of office and more than likely in jail. Thank you.
Thank you very much, caller. And I think what we're going to do, we're going to take that little break and then come back.
Do you know what you're drinking? If you are drinking plastic bottled water, chances are you're consuming plastic contaminants, BPA, and other hormone-disrupting chemicals you cannot see with your naked eye. Those empty plastic bottles take up to 450 years to decompose. In the meantime, plastic bottles are polluting the environment. They are dangerous to the planet and our health. The safer solution is to acquire your own Kangen alkaline water filtration system, and you will never have to buy toxic bottled water again. Help save the planet and drink clean water for less than the price you'll pay for acid plastic bottled water over the next few years. The Kangen technology is the world's most popular, most acquired water immunizer. For more information, you can call or WhatsApp us on 917-207-1307. That's 917-207-1307. Change your water, change your life.
Pico, the way to go for residential, commercial, and industrial wiring, data, security, UPS, and generator installation. When you need electrical work done now, done right, done at an affordable price, contact Pinney's Electrical Company. Call or WhatsApp 665-1916 or email pico_1166@yahoo.com. Pico, the way to go.
The views and opinions expressed on the following program are solely those of the participants and do not represent those of 2020 Vision Radio or its advertisers.
We're back, and I want to play a clip for you. When I heard this, I laughed for a bit, and then I got serious, and then I laugh again, and then I cuss. I ain't gonna cuss tonight.
The airport groundbreaking, yes, the groundbreaking, please remember, is a symbolic start of a project. The actual start in terms of heavy equipment and all of that, I'm told that will happen shortly. I do know that up to yesterday, we were discussing mobilizing funds. I think there's a 20% or something like that, down payment to the contractor. So we were working on doing that. Yesterday, we were engaged in those discussions. So I would expect that once those payments are made, that we'll see actual activity on the site. But the groundbreaking was never intended to mark the start of physical construction. It is just a symbolic indication that the project is about to start.
This is a project which dates back to 2015, 11 years ago. And these guys rushed over and had a groundbreaking ceremony at great expense. Had people come from all over the place to give speeches and so on. And today the Premier was asked at his press conference, so when we're going to see actual work at the airport, Premier, hold on, and with a straight face, man, a groundbreaking is only a groundbreaking. It is only to tell you that we plan to do some work. But listen, if people did not say that the Premier was such a bright fella, I would have said that he's a real kunumono. But me ain't going to say so because they say bright.
I think was Solomon who said that if you take a fool, put him in a mortar with other seeds and crush them all together, when he come back out, it's going to come back out a fool. This Premier, but then the journalist who sits at his press conference, they are a set of, they don't want it. The thing is, the Premier would have said to them recently that the airport will be starting, and they'll be starting, we call it, on the runway side, okay, the aerodrome side. That is what he said. After his breaking ceremony, that is phase one. And then he's going to come back and tell them something foolish like that, and nobody said, but Mr. Premier, the last month you told us this.
Let's take this call. Good evening, caller.
Good evening, Carly, Tulu, and Daly. Carly, the Premier is a very lying fellow. He very lie. He lie bad. And I really want to know, if Nevis people ain't listening this guy, A liar really had no memory, Mark Brantley telling the people in Nevis a lot of lies, and not just now, long time. I speak with a woman over Nevis, and she told me Mark used to go around telling people how bad NRP be. And she lived today to see who is the liar. The Premier is bad. Carly, Powell show. These old men from Nevis in St. Kitts asked me to tell you, do not let go the show. The show is very informative. People learning a lot of things between the islands. And you must keep that show, Carly. You understand? If you take me to send over a million sugar cube to keep it going, you have to keep that. Because we have to break the camel back.
Send the sugar
cube. The guy is bad. He's very bad. sign, you know. I understand that. But
That can't be the case because the Prime Minister, they just had a high-level meeting yesterday, and they are continuing to look at the document. So I wouldn't go that far.
we want to know who is on the committee. The people I think it's Navy should know who on the committee.
I agree with you too.
And what is the proposal?
I agree with
we
you.
know what proposal the tell her you listen to the press conference today with this gun issue.
We're going to come to that.
The police was scratching today, you know.
We're going to come to that. Now, probably not tonight, but we're going to come to that.
Yeah, you take care.
Yeah.
Mr. Daly, keep punching and pull. Keep punching. We got them on the rope like Muhammad Ali, and they can't get away. Somebody gotta go down.
Thank you very much.
One thing that I keep hearing about is the lack of a dialysis machine.
Yes. So dialysis is the difficulty. Again, you come back to population. It's really been something we've been struggling with. Dialysis is very expensive. Very expensive. In fact, the average dialysis patient needs about 3 treatments per week.
Yeah.
And those treatments are being offered at $800 EC per treatment on St. Kitts. That's $1,000 US a week, right? Most people, even rich people, could not be able to afford $1,000 US per week. Absent health insurance, going back to that, I said we need a health insurance. That becomes a difficulty.
Good evening, caller.
At any given point.
Hi, good evening, caller. No, we lost the call. That was a premiere in an interview recently.
I'm so happy
saying
that you played
dialysis is too expensive.
I'm so happy you played it. I was here a million of it in my mind. You know.
Stick up in. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, good night to the listening public. Good night to you guys in the studio.
Good night.
But we all every time the nigger man announce a project, elections from around the corner.
Sure.
We all know that. That is something we know. But anyway, I hear him take out the text and the old white people them last night. But then same people who we talk about last night is the same set of people came in the community center with him some years ago. I wonder if he forget. Well, how come he didn't take out the text from them? Good night.
Thank you very much. I think he's talking about when we had the town hall for the fuel. Yeah. Hi, good evening, caller.
Good evening again, Carlisle and Tulu and Dr. Daly. I am reminded that this is something forcefully happening around the world. When you see things come up out of the blue and conversations that make no sense, it's a distraction. And the distraction is to keep you focused on the foolishness while much deeper things are happening. One of the things we have to pay attention to is what names are going onto this election list that's coming up soon. And who will we see in the lines on election day? Okay? And all of these discussions and the lies and all of these things that honestly make no sense, it's by design. It's by design to keep people unfocused while they get away with a whole lot of stuff. And that's a big concern for me.
Thank you very much, caller. Thank you very much. Mark Brantley, when he spoke about dialysis, remember that he was the Minister of Health when they prevented any assistance. God bless Dr. Glenville Libert because he took off time and he came down and made sure that he provided the kind of quality care that Mark Brantley as Minister of Health didn't do. But what stands out in my mind was that Mark Brantley made a big statement when he was asked about the prevention of our professionals from working with chef. He said, if I had to do it again, I would do it again.
Mm-hmm.
He did not care about our people finding out what is their status with respect to their kidneys. So if I got to do it again, I would do it again. You want to tell me that all of a sudden he has become a Christian and he just find out that dialysis is needed in Nevis?
He has not changed. People need to know that Mark Brantley has scoffed at dialysis care for the people of Nevis from the beginning. When he heard that 2 units were coming, everybody know what he said. The thing is, Astro sang a song, and part of the song says that these investors are coming back, and for any price, they will offer any price in order to get back our lands. And I am seeing the reality of that song. I am troubled that Astro is one who is still supporting the Premier and the foolishness and his songs. And so he has warned us. But people need to understand the Premier is taking us for a ride. Destiny is trying to bribe us. The dialysis center that is up there, it is not a goodwill. It is the same thing as the CT scan that we got. It was not a goodwill out of love for the people of Nevis. They used the Premier to get what they wanted.
Hi, good evening, caller. You got to be tight because we're just about to go into closing arguments.
Good evening, Mr. Powell. This is Staki.
Staki, how you doing?
I'm going to be quick. I'm calling on behalf of NEVDC. It's that time of year again where we're going to be having our banquet, and we're just reminding our friends who will be coming of our banquet this year. It's September 26th this year. The theme for this year's banquet is Cultivating Tomorrow, honoring innovation and leadership in Nevisian agriculture. The honorees this year are Daniel Atherton, Banky, and Richard Harris. The event is going to be at the usual location, the Martins Crosswind in Greenbelt, Maryland. There's a hotel next door, the Holiday Inn. Next week I'm gonna be calling in to give more detail about that since I don't have much time. And there are other hotels in the area. But of course, in addition to the banquet on Saturday, there's a brunch on Sunday, which is everyone's favorite, starting at 11 and ending when the New York people leave. So we're looking forward to having everyone come this year, and it's going to be the best ever. Of course, it's been improving every year over 20 years. So we expect only the best. So we welcome everyone to come on down.
Thank you very much. Look forward to hearing you from you next week.
All right, thank you, sir.
Okay. Tulu, closing arguments?
For our lands, they will pay any price to regain. And so, my brothers and sisters, again, the Premier has been colluding, is colluding with somebody else to bribe us. And so I'm asking you to think carefully about what the Premier says to us. Listen to him from week to week, month to month, and you realize that every month or every week the goalposts change. And so he's not thinking about you. He's not thinking about us. We know that he and his family stand to make millions of dollars if destiny becomes a reality. And his focus is on that as much as he can make for himself and his family, on top of what perhaps they would have already made. And so we have to stand up. We have to save Nevis for ourselves. We have to save Nevis for our children and our grandchildren. And we must not allow Mark Brantley and his wife, Destiny, or anybody else to come and take Nevis from under our feet. If it happens, then Marcus Garvey says, those who forget their history are bound to repeat it, which means we will find ourselves in slavery right in this country. We must not allow it to happen. Good night.
Dr. Daly?
First off, let me congratulate those three nominees, or three awardees that we head into the States or agriculture. Wonderful people. But then I must ask a question. How is it that I'm the only person in the Federation with a PhD in agriculture? I've never gotten an award for anything.
Time will come.
Okay.
Your time
It's just something that struck me.
It's coming.
No, I'm just, you know what I'm saying, Carl? The kind of work that I don't want to, nobody's blowing my horn, so I got to blow my own horn. The kind of work that I did in agriculture and continue to do that, agriculture. I can't understand these
You
things.
didn't tell
Anyway,
you keep it to yourself.
I understand you because I believe I did a fair job of running the airport for 20 years. I never get a postcard. Never get a postcard.
It's just fascinating.
So both of you are begging.
No, I'm not begging.
No, we're not begging.
I good. I just mention it.
No, sometimes
Listen, I was a minister when we had water 24 hours a day.
Yeah, that's true. That is true.
Nobody remember.
Okay. I am appealing to whoever is
no, leave that.
Remember daily.
No, leave that. It was just it was just something that was very fascinating to me, you know. But I agree. I would, of course, agree with the nominees. I'm just curious as to how things are done.
Night would come in.
No, forget that. Yeah, this issue with the SSD, the Destiny, it has been consuming all of the oxygen in the atmosphere for some time. I think there has never been a case of a topic being more prosecuted than this one. I don't think there has been a case where any topic, no matter how controversial, has occupied our consciousness for this long, constantly.
True.
And you would have thought by now, given all of the eyes and ears and brains that are focused on this issue, that it would have given a clearer picture of where we are in this whole argument. But every week, you're getting more and more muddled. Well, we should be getting more and more clarity in this whole thing. And it makes you wonder whether it's being deliberately muddled. Because neither the Prime Minister or the feds in general are willing to say definitively, without any water in their mouths, that this thing here is wrong. That we cannot, in our history, support a situation where you have a state within a state. That you cannot have a period in our history where we become a minority in our lifetime, in our own country. So we can sit here and talk about all of the other things, whether they're paying Social Security, whether they're going to have this or have that. But what about the human aspect of it? What about the cultural aspect of it? What about us? What it will mean for us as a people? The landlessness, the unaffordability, the gentrification, the pushing aside. How can any sensible leader in 2026 have a hard time with this? How can you decide to, listen, we're going to debate this thing for another year, when you know definitively that 30,000 people will cause Nevis and Nevisians to be minorities in their own country? The argument should have stopped there. There's no further discussion. They don't need no further discussion. You want me, who was born on Prince William Street, in the heart of Charlestown, to become a minority in Nevis? Because this is what the Premier wants? Where is the humanity in this discussion? Where are we going with the discussion? I mean, we can sit and pontificate about legalities and constitutionalities and sovereignty and all that nonsense. Great stuff, great arguments, don't get me wrong. But first and foremost in our minds must be what will become of us. What will become of us? I mean, it makes me wonder, what planet are we really on here? Why is it so difficult for the federal government, for us Nivisions, who have traveled far and wide, who have had to exist under the thumbs of everybody else, because we don't belong there. We are foreigners in their own country, in that country. We know what it feels like. When somebody gonna tell you, you don't belong here, go back home, you're not a belonger, you're not this, you're not that. And we are here debating whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. Well, where's our humanity? Where's our culture or history? How are we to exist in an environment where we become the minority? Again, because those of us have gone overseas. I lived away for almost 10, 15, 20 years. And I hated it for the simple reason that you never really felt you belonged. You never felt a part of, because it was always, you weren't born here. You shouldn't have the same rights as me. You should blah, 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 blah. And I must now roll over and play dead and say, man, this is okay. I can live with this.
We're going to finish that next week, Daily. I always like to tell you, keep your eyes on the clock. Listen, let me say, before I leave here this evening, I have to reach out and tell you that I'm praying hard for my fellow villager, Andrew Marchant, who is ill and is overseas. And listen, 10 fingers crossed, 10 toes crossed, and are praying like a Baptist.
We started praying for him.
Okay, brilliant. Continue to pray for him.
Meetings.
Let me give you one plug for a show that Alan and I do on a Wednesday.
Like father, like son. Join the Powells on 2020 Vision Radio live every Wednesday morning from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m. for Powell Overload, as they settle on various topical issues from cooking to sports to politics to healthcare, business, survival, religion, whatever pops up on the radar. They'll be taking your calls, so be a part of the midweek morning show every Wednesday on 102.1 FM 2020 Vision Radio. Call us at 869-669-7312, 869-766-7312. Our landline 869-469-7953, or our overseas line 1-917-460-2187. It's Alan, it's Carlisle. Together, they're the Powell's Overload.
So that's coming up next week, Wednesday. Same morning, Sir Garfield Sobers, the best cricketer who ever lived, will be laid to rest. But Alan and I will be here. Dahlia, I haven't heard your critique of the show yet, and I'm still waiting. So we want to make sure that we are continually improving. We're going to see you next week. Next week, also, we're going to spend a couple of minutes on Starshield, because he did some excellent work for the Nevis Reformation Party. He has passed on. All I'm going to say to you is that, listen up. We're doing, my very good producer says that we're going to do a piece on dialysis, separate and apart. So that might be in the form of a video, because we want to show you where we were in 2013, how long it has taken us to get back here, and Hensley Daniel is going to weigh in on that. Something else that we need to do, we need to get Mr. Mario Philip in the studio, Dr. Daly. We need to get him here. He had such a magnificent launch just last week, Thursday. We need to get him in the studio so we can spend some time with him and let him speak to the people. And the other thing I want to say as we close off, last week we had the launch and it finished minutes to 10. People were messaging all up to midnight wanting to know why Daly gone home to sleep, why Tulu gone home to sleep. And you know me, I tell them that I was ready to go, the fellows were sleepy.
No, you did not do that.
Boy, I'm not bad like that.
You did not do that.
Anyway, see you guys next week. Until then, be good.